We've got Fergal Lawler of the Cranberries with us on the Music Universe podcast. What are you drinking, Matt?
Cranberry juice, of course.
Nice one.
How about you?
Actually, it used to be called kitty cocktails growing up, but
Well, that's
a
nice.
little-
Cranberry red.
yeah,
So,
very effective for this episode.
so we're sitting here, and we weren't expecting to be sitting here at this time because a little while ago, ahead of schedule, he jumped on, and you weren't expecting it, and I wasn't ready. So you did it by yourself.
Yeah, he was about a week off, but we went off the cuff, so I wasn't quite ready. But sometimes those are the best interviews. And we chat about a little bit of everything. Obviously, the band hasn't been together since Dolores O'Riordan died a couple of years ago. And I asked what he had been doing during the pandemic, and we're gonna you're gonna see that, but just also mostly about their new vinyl. It's a reissue of their greatest hits album called Stars, and it's making its vinyl appearance across 2 LPs. And also talk about his new solo project, and we'll just let him take it away. Fergal from the Cranberries, welcome to the Music Universe podcast. How are you doing from Ireland today?
I'm okay, buddy. Thank you. Good.
Yeah.
All good here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk a little bit about your career with the Cranberries, of course, and a new project that you've got out solo. But tell us how the pandemic impacted you guys with any music that you were doing.
It wasn't really a problem because obviously we're not touring since Dolores died. That's kind of the band as we know it for touring and recording new music is finished, in that respect. So we were working on a box set for what was it? No Need to Argue. And also the Stars reissue was coming out around that time. So it was perfect because we were at home and we just had to root through old DAT tapes, CDs, and just demos, trying to find bits and pieces that we might have forgotten about, and then getting artwork and stuff together with the record company. So it was an enjoyable process. But yeah, I don't know, it makes you feel a bit old when you're going back looking through all that stuff and you see photos of yourself, me especially with long hair, and it's like, oh God, I wish I had that now. But yeah, it's nice to go back over stuff like that. It just kind of reminds you of that time. It's like looking through an old photograph album when you're listening to demos and stuff, and Dolores sounds so young in some of them, and it's sweet. It's sweet, and it's nice that we have all those memories.
Yeah. And now the Stars, the best of 1992 to 2002, coming out May 27th. And tell us about that, because it comprises, it looks like, 5 Island record releases and adds 2 unavailable tracks.
Yeah. Those tracks, there was, because Stars initially was kind of like a greatest hits, and all the singles we released, we'll say, and there was 2 extra songs that we recorded, New York and Stars. I remember we were on tour at the time, and we had like 4 or 5 days off in Miami, so we asked Stephen Street to come over to Miami for those few days and to try and record these songs. And I think the fact that we were on tour and we had played the songs live a few times, we were fairly tight or whatever, and I think it bashed them out in 2 or 3 days, and it was just really easy. It went really quickly, and they sound great. I think it was nice to to give fans something extra rather than just hear the singles. The singles have all been out there before, so you want to be fair and give people value for money, I think. So it's nice to put on some extra songs that they haven't heard before or whatever.
Yeah, and it's going to be a reissue on vinyl. It looks like it's a 2 LP set.
Yeah,
What does that feel like to actually revisit vinyl, 30 years after it kind of
it's
died?
amazing, isn't it? I know it's hard to believe that it's made such a comeback. Because initially when I started listening to music, I had vinyl, and we'd save up, and a bunch of us, someone would get a record and someone else would get a record the next month, and we'd share them. And my dad was a big vinyl collector from when he was younger. He was into opera and classical and stuff, so he had a room in the house with like wall to wall vinyl. So yeah, it was something that was always around when I was younger. But then as I got older, CDs came in, and I ended up buying a load of CDs, and now it's MP3s or whatever. But I still have a record deck, and I still listen to vinyl occasionally. And there's something about it because you have to get up and turn to the next side, and the sound of it, it's wider. I don't know, it's more natural or something. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I know that the new vinyls, when they're pressed now, they're like 180 grand. They're like higher quality. So I bet that helps too, to kind of preserve the natural sound, but also give you that warmth that people like with vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, will this only be available on vinyl, this edition with the new songs, or will it also be streaming and CD?
I'm sure it'll be streaming and CD as well. Well, not CD actually. I'd say just streaming.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but don't quote me on that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say it'll probably be streaming as well. I'd say, yeah.
Yeah. And you guys really defined a new alt rock sound back, in the 90s with Zombie and all your hits.
Mm.
What was it like to kind of be on the pioneering edge of a new, I don't want to say genre, but just a new sound, a new motion of music?
We were young at the time, our early 20s or whatever, and when you're that age, it was just all a big adventure, and we just enjoyed every minute of it. And we had been touring hard and working hard for a few years kind of before it kicked off. So we were really kind of in our own bubble, because ourselves and our crew, we used to travel around on a bus together, and it was like a family, and it was a big adventure for everyone. And it was just really enjoyable. I mean, when you're that age and you're off touring the world, it's a dream come true, And I know, I think maybe after the second album, we had burnt out a little bit, so we should have taken a break, but we kind of went straight back into the studio and started recording To the Faithful Departed, and then back out on tour again. So I think it kind of caught up with us. I think it was like 5 or 6 years of non-stop go, go, go. And I think we burnt out a little bit then, and we decided to take a break for a while.
Yeah, that's got to be a toll on your mind to just be constantly on the road and do this cycle of album tour. Did you guys and this is just something as a musician myself I always like to ask, are you guys a band that used to track things, or did you do the core live and then go through and overdub stuff?
No, we do in the studio. Is that our live?
Studio.
In the studio, we'd play like we were in a rehearsal room, basically. So we'd record drums, bass, kind of rhythm guitar or whatever. And if Dolores had a keyboard part, we'd record that, and like a guide vocal. So we'd record all that. We'd do 3 or 4 takes and pick the best one, and then do overdubs afterwards.
Yeah, it's always neat how some bands have to do it all live, some bands have to track things. It's just neat how all that works out. What
I think because the Cranberries songs are very dynamic, and we'd normally play new songs live a few times. You know, if we were writing on the road, we'd be writing a sound checks or whatever and start working out songs there. And then after a few days, we'd say, like, let's throw it in the set tonight and see how it goes, just to get a reaction from people. So we'd normally have played the song live a few times before going to the studio. So, you know, we had a pretty much an idea of what we were doing. So I think that we'd have to play them live. It'd be weird otherwise, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it was always fun to try out new songs in front of an audience and decide, okay, we want to, you know, we got the response for this. Let's go and record this and release it. Yeah. Did you guys have a lot of vault tracks left over from your sessions?
Yeah, we'd usually have a few, like maybe 3 or 4 songs that would be left over and they would be used for B-sides maybe, or there's a box set of To the Faithful Departed coming out at the end of the year, and there's a load of stuff on that we found. There were some demos we had done in Paris, 3 songs I think, with a different producer, and we kind of had forgotten about them. And then when it came to do the box set, something hit me and it was like, hold on a second, didn't we do some demos? And then I was trying to think where it was, and we tracked them down eventually, and they're completely different vibe completely to what is on the album. So it's really nice to have stuff like that. And then there's some other bits and pieces of live stuff that hasn't been heard before. So it's always nice to find little bits like that, because we forget about them even, and it's like, Jesus Christ, that sounds way different. You know, it's really nice to hear them and to hear different versions and B-sides maybe that you wouldn't have heard for a long time.
Yeah, and you mentioned that's coming out at the end of 2022.
I think so, yeah. It was supposed to come out last year, but there was some delay with vinyl, and I think because, first of all, because of the pandemic, and then because of the Panama Canal thing. It was all supplies were all delayed.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I think that's why it was delayed, really.
Yeah, that hopefully we're getting on this side of all of
the
that.
other side of it, I know.
And stuff. But what was it like for your first time, if you can recall, coming to the United States and experiencing that crowd live?
It was amazing, absolutely amazing, because we had, just before we came to the States, we were doing a European tour, opening up for a band called the Hothouse Flowers, an Irish band, and no one really knew us. We had done some touring in the UK, so we were kind of known there, but in mainland Europe, like Sweden and Germany and France and places like that, not really many people knew us. So, you know, we do our half an hour set and be people wandering up to the bar and in and out or whatever. And then we got a call saying that Linger had taken off in college radio in the States, that we needed to go over and do a tour. So we started our first gig, and it was like people crowd surfing, and the reaction was amazing. And then MTV picked it up and Linger was on constant rotation. It was just insane. We couldn't believe it. We were pinching ourselves.
Yeah, just like nothing you've ever experienced over there, right?
No.
Was crowd surfing new to you guys then?
Yeah, it was. Well, we'd seen it, obviously. We'd seen Nirvana on MTV. We were big fans of Nevermind, and we'd seen the video of crowd surfing and Pearl Jam and stuff, and so it was like, oh right, this is the way to do it over here.
Yeah, I don't think they do that anymore, but I haven't been to like a hardcore rock concert like that in forever. But and I went to Metallica recently and I didn't see them doing that. So maybe they've kind of brought that safety net.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
With everything.
Everything is a little bit too safe nowadays, I think.
Yeah. Before we get to your own solo project, what is a fond memory that you have with the Cranberries that you just can't ever forget?
It's just those early days of touring in the back of a van. It's just so funny, we just had a ball because, like I said, it was a big adventure, and we were off touring around the world, and just the laugh, we just laughed our way around the world most of the time, because we were early 20s, full of life and energy, and just really enjoying ourselves, and working hard. I mean, we played a lot of gigs, sometimes 5 and 6 a week, and
Wow.
we'd have a few drinks afterwards and have a laugh and just drive off to the next place, and it was just a big adventure.
Yeah, laughter and music just seems like it. They heal everything, right?
They do.
Mix that with a little alcohol, you get a little crazier, but at least it heals. So I want to talk briefly before we let you go about your new project, All Hope Is Never Lost. Tell us about your solo project.
It's an instrumental album. I've been into doing soundtracks and stuff like that. I've been doing soundtracks for documentaries and short films and that for a few years. It's something I've always been into and always wanted to get into, but never really had the time because we were so busy touring and recording with the Cranberries and everything. So it was kind of something that was always in the back of my mind, but I never really got around to it until the past few years. And I really enjoyed it. And I was kind of doing like a show reel, I suppose. I said I'll get some piece of music together and send them off to directors. And then as it progressed, I kind of said to myself, this could actually be an album of instrumental music. And there's lots of artists like Tim Hecker and Ben Frost and people like that who I really like, and they're doing stuff like that. And, it's all instrumental and it really works. Mogwai, another band like that I really like. And, I kind of said, why not make an album out of it and see what happens? And, I finished recording last year and got it mastered and then decided to release it myself.
Yeah, and it looks like it's available on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Is it also on streaming and anywhere else?
I think it is. Yeah, it's on like Apple Music and Spotify and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's described as being ambient, so I bet that's kind of neat to get to play with different effects and really put together some cool sounds.
Yeah, it takes time, but it's it's really enjoyable, and it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and the reaction has been really good and people like it. It's dark at times, but the good music is dark. I like a bit of darkness in music.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Makes it feel great too. And you recorded this at your home studio in Ireland?
Yes. Yeah. I have a studio here, and I started playing some bits of guitar and stuff that I'd never played before, and I just experimenting really, and it worked out. It's really, really enjoyable.
So it's a one-man band. It's just you completely?
Yeah. I had been engineering some stuff for other bands, so I kind of picked up those skills over the years. So I did the whole lot myself.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thanks very much for your support.
Well, maybe we'll get a chance to visit with Fergal and drink some cranberry juice while we're over there in Ireland this September.
I did tell him we were coming. So I don't know if we'll have that opportunity. As we were doing a little back and forth with, trying to schedule this, I offered that as an option. I said, hey, we're going to be over there, if you guys want to do it in person, but, we just had Fergal, so it'll be fun. And, having another drummer on, it's always great to chat with them. And I loved how.
Okay, I guess I'm glad now that I missed it because, I third wheeled our Stuart Copeland interview and our Rick.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. But no, it's fun because you get to ask these guys who, they have this kind of punk alternative rock attitude on stage, but they're really nice, genuine, and sweet off stage, like he was. And obviously came from us from Ireland there, and really neat to hear some of the stories about what he got to relive, some of those moments from the first time. I asked him, what is the greatest moment that he remembers coming into the US and things like that. So really fun to have him on.
Very, very cool. Well, for the Music Universe podcast, I'm Matt.
And buddy, thanks for listening and watching. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and share button, and check us out at themusicuniverse.com. Take care.